Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Lee, and welcome to our Wheels and Watts meeting today. Um, we have a nice lineup of speakers, and for those of you who joined us before, that is our goal, is to create a community of EV adopters to learn together, to dialogue. If you've got any specific questions that you're hoping we might cover at the end, please do go ahead and put them in the chat. Um, we'd love to also have your name, organization, email, if you didn't register early. Um, so, uh, like I said, my name is Lisa Lee. I work for Easy Ride, which is one of the 8 TMAs, Transportation Management Associations in New Jersey, and I'm the Director of
Lisa,
Sustainability.
I apologize. Could you please reshare your window?
Oh, I'm not sharing anymore?
I was uploading some documents and it overrode it.
Oh, okay. All right. Are we good now?
Yes.
Okay, so let me move on. So Easy Ride is, like I said, one of the 8 TMAs in New Jersey. We're joined here by one of our other peer TMAs, and Sean will introduce himself in a little bit. But we have programs to help communities with their mobility needs, including this, our EV Accelerator program. We also have programs to help with community safety, bike and walk, our Ride for Life program, which is a on-demand TNC program that helps people who can no longer drive or who don't have a vehicle. We've got community shuttles that can serve as first and last mile transit transportation, and we also help to encourage carpools and van pools. So we're going to start by looking at EVs and workplace charging. And we're going to talk about the EVAL certification. We've got a great presentation from our special guest today, Maria Connolly, who's the Director of Planning for Mercer County. And then we have George Koutsouradis, who's representing ChargEVC, who is going to talk about some technical assistance questions. Um, we like to say that an investment in sustainability and workplace charging helps to improve community health, reduces operating costs, increases property value, attracts employees who value sustainability, and positions your organization as a leader. So unfortunately, 40% of 40% of greenhouse gas emissions are a result of transportation. And local air pollution, which is coming from uh, tailpipe emissions, has a direct impact on human health, with 246,000 deaths per year, an average lifespan reduction of 8 months, cognitive impacts that majority impact those with lung issues or children, and those who live in communities closest to traffic and highways are most affected. Do I look fuzzy to everybody? I just see myself, I look like very weird and blurry.
Slightly.
It's weird. Okay. I don't know what happened, but maybe Stan, undo whatever it is that you do. So let's see if it goes back to the normal.
Unfortunately, I cannot do
I
anything
look like a
about
weird
it.
blur. But anyways, all right. So driving electric vehicles can be part of the solution. And I think especially now with where we're seeing oil and gasoline prices increasing at a quick rate every single week. And we're being told even if the wars end, the impacts may still last for many, many months before they come down. Driving EVs can be definitely a good solution. Yeah, we've seen energy costs also go up. But I think the shock of the oil prices is really going to make a difference, and we may see more and more people turn to EVs, whether they're new or used, and smaller and lower priced vehicles, because no gas is required and also less maintenance. I'm gonna do something here. See if this helps. No, I don't know what that is. Okay. So some of the barriers of EV adoption are fear of the new technology. It could also be things like no federal tax rebates anymore, no access to home charging for those who are living in apartments or multi-unit dwellings, and also the fact that there may not be as many chargers in the community as people need if they don't have one at home. Um, so, one of our goals, besides encouraging EV adoption, is also to encourage the adoption of workplace charging for employees, and also to make them accessible for residents in our communities. Right now, 78% of American commuters drive to work and park their vehicles for at least 8 hours per day. And so having EV chargers at the workplace provides folks an opportunity to charge during the workday. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Sean Castellano.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sean Castellano. I am the Sustainable Transportation Specialist here at RideWise, as Lisa described earlier, another transportation management association in New Jersey. While Easy Ride is in the northeast portion of the state, we are responsible for Somerset County. Um, and I worked with Lisa and Stan very recently to earn a bronze EVAL certification for RideWise. If you could go to the next slide, please. So just a little bit about who RideWise is before I get into the eval certification. So as stated previously, we are the TMA for Somerset County. If you can see in the central Jersey portion of the map, which does exist here in the dark blue area. What we do is connect people and businesses to safe and sustainable travel. And what does that mean? How do we accomplish that? We've done Bike Connect programs, College Connect programs, getting people bikes and bus passes to places of work and places of education, many in school and after school, bike and pedestrian safety programs, and with the addition of me on the staff, EV initiatives and other sustainable transportation initiatives. Next slide, please. So the EVAL certification. EVAL stands for the Electric Vehicle Adoption Leadership Certification. If you scan the QR in the upper right-hand corner, it takes you right to their website, which is evalcertification.org, and you can either look at that at your own pace or follow along. This certification is the National Employer EV Readiness Certification. So it's sponsored by the United States Department of Energy, and it is administered by Forth Mobility. So Forth is the logo that you see on the screen. What does this certification do? It helps promote cleaner commutes. So as seen, electric vehicle adoption is on the rise as a whole, and offering charging at work. Thank you, Lisa. And offering charging at work is certainly one place to promote a cleaner commute. It provides a roadmap to adopting and expanding EV charging through the points system. And it is LEED aligned. And of course, as soon as you get the certification, you can network with other EV champions, which we will see the many different types of entities that can earn the certification in the next slide or a couple slides. So some of the certification benefits, it's important, I think, to get this set in stone first, and then we talk about the cost because there are a myriad of benefits. You have official recognition on the eval certification site. So that includes a certificate and an online listing. And if you're local to New Jersey, Easy Ride and soon to be our RideWise site will list those who are eval certified as well. You participate, as stated earlier, with networking with EV champions. You can participate in the eval roundtable work group and ultimately transform your current commitments and practices up to sustainability into an official recognition. So just for everyone's awareness, there are 4 levels with different point values. platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. And bronze is obviously the lower point value tier, but it only requires 15 points of actions. So it's a very, as stated before, there are probably current practices that you are doing that can already contribute to these points and these certification levels. So next slide, please. So eligibility and pricing. So it can be, this certification is available to all offices and workplaces, corporations, government entities, nonprofit entities, tribal organizations, all industries, and all sizes, with one exception, which is if you are part of a company that exclusively does fleet vehicle charging or fleet vehicle operations. That is the only sort of company that is not eligible for this certification. It's also important to mention that it is a one-time cost. Um, to achieve your first certification level, the base price is $599, although as you will see in the next slide, not yet, but in the next slide, that there are many stackable discounts. Additional work sites come at a cost of $99 a piece. So once you have covered your base work site or your first work site, you can branch out to all of your work sites at all of your branches of your company or your workplace, and you can recertify to achieve a higher level. So if you go from bronze to gold or silver to platinum, there's a small fee associated with that. But again, these are just very simply one-time fees, which can be very, very heavily discounted with the help of RideWise and Easy Ride's collaboration with Forth. So if you go to the next slide, please. Again, it's important to have a discount slide because there are so many of them. And it's important to also note that all discounts are stackable if you qualify for more than one category. So for all minority and women-owned businesses, the certification is completely free of charge. For government entities and nonprofits, there is a 25% discount. If you are part of the Forth or best workplaces for commuters, if you're a member, you get an additional 15% off. And for those who are part of organizations that attended today's webinar, any previous webinars or a future webinar, you receive an additional 20% off. So there are a lot of stackable discounts available. You can go to the next slide, please. So let's talk about the certification criteria. There are 5 main areas of criteria: employee engagement, as seen on the left side of the screen in the green arrows, planning and evaluation, mobility incentives, EV charging, and innovation. So the certification starts off with inquiring about what is your employee EV knowledge? Do you have lunch and learns? Do you have presentations? Do you send them surveys? What do your employees know about EV charging and if it is available at your workplace? Going into planning and evaluation, the certification assesses your sustainability goals as an organization. And then obviously, of course, policies to support alternative commuting. So if you work with your HR department or your point person, then perhaps maybe some policies can be amended to provide more points to the certification. So for example, RideWise, we encourage employees to carpool together to events, so that reduces cost, it reduces wear and tear, it reduces pollutants from emissions, et cetera. So that is a policy that would support, a very basic policy that would support alternative commuting. Additionally, if you have access to EV charging at the workplace, excellent. This is a very nice set of points for you, as well as any partnerships with local entities such as municipal or county governments for discounted EV charging, or perhaps even maybe somewhat exclusive EV charging, as well as innovative sustainability programs in general. What partnerships and other things are you doing in the community to enhance your mobility initiative? If you go to the next slide, please. So there is great assistance from TMAs that we can offer. For most of our TMAs, we can offer EV adoption strategies, alternative commute education, and alternative commute programs. I put a photo of RideWise's Bike Connect program up in the right-hand corner of this slide because it has been such a valuable program to those in our community seeking assistance to get to and from work and to and from school. And then as an EVAL partner, so EVAL has state partners. So as a New Jersey state partner, Easy Ride provides additional guidance, including point breakdowns of certification questions, a planning spreadsheet for certification, templates such as those for an employee mobility survey, and technical assistance for the certification in general, as well as any navigation for discounts. If you go to the next slide, please. And not separate, but working in conjunction with the eval certification is the Charge at Work Pledge and Resource Center. There are, again, a couple of QR codes on the screen. Feel free to scan or go back to the recording later and take a look. So their resource center has information for federal and state grants for EV charging. It has examples of staff surveys and best practice guides. The Project Builder portal is a very, very innovative and free tool to design your EV charging site. So it will guide you with utility tips. It'll guide you with a timeline, cost estimates, contractors, etc. It's very useful. And additionally, there is the pledge to Charge at Work. So you can sign a non-binding pledge, thank you, Lisa, again, to install EV chargers at your workplace. And if you or a representative of your organization signs this pledge, then that contributes already 1 point toward your certification. So if we go to the next slide. So you can join New Jersey's certified sustainability leaders. So as you can see, I'm seeing nonprofits, I'm seeing schools, I'm seeing New Jersey TMAs, which are all starred, by the way. So RideWise, Avenues in Motion, Keep Middlesex Moving, and Easy Ride are all New Jersey Transportation Management Associations that can assist you with your certification, as well as being certified ourselves, and other county and local organizations. So by obtaining the eval certification, by participating in this very, very valuable employee-driven or workplace-driven exercise, you can make your workplace a cleaner and a better place to be. So with that, I believe we will move on to Maria. There we go.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Connolly, and I'm the Mercer County Planning Director. I've been in this role for almost 2 years now, and I'm thrilled to be here to talk about our ongoing electric vehicle charging deployment here in Mercer County. Before coming to the county, I spent 21 years working as a planner with the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. During my time there, I had the opportunity to work on several iterations of the state's energy master plan, and I also helped craft the EV charging station law in 2021, along with the mandatory charging station ordinance that came about at every municipality had to implement, which required the installation of new charging stations and make-ready infrastructure in new parking lots. So it was incredibly rewarding work that helped set the policy at the state level. So I was really happy to be working on that. But I'm incredibly excited to make this transition to Mercer County to work for County Executive Dan Benson and the Board of County Commissioners because I know they don't just talk about supporting sustainability, right? They actually champion for it. Their leadership has provided the backing that the planning department needed to make to take ambitious sustainability goals and actually put them into practice on the ground, whether it's expanding our public charging access or leading by example with our own fleet transition. So of course, none of this happens in a vacuum. I get to work with an incredible staff at the county planning department. They're a team of professionals who truly love what they do and they believe deeply in the importance of our sustainability initiatives. So I just, want to take a moment to thank them for their hard work. They, not only make my job easier, but they genuinely help me enjoy coming to work every single day. So today I'm going to share some of the fruits of that labor, I guess you could say. We'll be walking through our current public EV charging footprint, how we've navigated some funding program like It Pays to Plug In, and the ongoing work with our fleet transition plan, and some of the very real challenges and lessons that we've learned along the way. So we can go to the next slide. First, I wanted to give you a high-level overview of our current public EV charging footprint. So as you can see here, Mercer County has currently deployed 15 electric vehicle chargers across 11 different county-owned locations for public use, and our employees use these as well. So the county has 11 dual-port level 2 chargers, which were installed in 2021, and 4 single-port DC fast chargers, which were installed in 2024. We have different charging pricing for them. So we charge 30 cents per kilowatt hour for the level 2 chargers. And then we have kind of like an occupancy or parking fee after that. So after 4 hours of charging, we charge an occupancy fee of $10 per hour until the vehicle's removed. That's for the level 2. And then for the fast chargers, we charge 50 cents per kilowatt hour. And then again, after it's fully charged, we give them like a 1 hour grace period to remove the vehicle. And then after that, we do charge $5 per minute. So it does make people move their cars a little faster. And for our locations, we targeted places that people tend to visit and spend several hours, especially for the level 2 chargers. And we also made sure to include locations where there is less access to off-street parking. So, next slide, please. So on this slide is like a breakdown of the costs associated with the installation of our chargers. So we purchased ChargePoint chargers and hired Bryan Electric, hi George, for the installation through the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Co-op. Bryan Electric handled like everything, the site planning, the coordinating with PSE&G for all electrical upgrades, purchasing, installing the units. They were great to work with. For the level 2 charges we received, and then just money we received from grants. For level 2 chargers, we received $88,000 from the Pays to Plug In program, $82,000 from PSE&G. For the fast chargers, we received $75,000 from the Pays to Plug In program and $150,000 from BPU Tourism Grant and $150,000 from PSE&G. If anybody wants, any of those numbers, the grant numbers, they can contact me and I can get that to them. So we can go to the next slide. Just give me 1 second. I wanted to see here. So we have an EVAL certified site. So we, as part of that EVAL certification, we offer a 50% discount for charging for our employees. So to take advantage of this discount, employees have to register with their county email address with our HR department, and then the discount is applied to their ChargePoint account. And as of October 2024, all of our charging locations are either EVAL certified gold or silver. And this is a photo of me accepting the award at the EVAL award ceremony. Very nice ceremony. And as they were talking about earlier, it's the National Workplace Charging Certification Program, which is backed by the U.S. Department of Energy. So, and then I do have to tell you that certified locations are subject to audits, right? So like as part of the program, they automatically audit every 100th work site to verify application responses. So Mercer County, our Hopewell Valley Golf Course was lucky number 400. So they actually do go out and do the audits. So I just wanted to let you know that. That was funny. All right, so the next slide, please. All right, so this is one of our staff members, Sophia, in this picture. So some of our level 2 chargers, like at the Mercer County Improvement Authority, the Hunt House, the Boathouse, they operate on a power share mode because they share a single circuit, which means when 2 cars are charging at the same time, the power is divided equally. Users would pay the same hourly rate regardless of how much energy they use. So in our original per hour rate, we didn't consider that this would be an issue until we started getting complaints from people, right? They were paying the same hourly rate regardless of how much energy was used. So then when we changed the ordinance, our fee ordinance last year, we charge now according to the amount of energy used. And that was what I was talking about earlier. So we went from an hourly rate to a per kilowatt rate because it's more transparent to our users, more fair. So, and then all of our locations are now available to the public 24/7. When we first made our chargers available, Parks was kind of concerned about people entering the parks when they were closed, and they had a limited amount of park rangers available to patrol for the emergencies. So it took some coordination and convincing, but we were able to reach an agreement with our parks department to keep the chargers available by, again, adjusting that pricing policy so people don't leave their cars there for too long. So, and then another difficulty was that because our sites are scattered throughout the county and there's various site managers, some are parks, some are buildings and grounds, it can be difficult to coordinate repairs. So sometimes our own staff, our planning staff has to go do a site visit to get the information necessary so that ChargePoint can assess what the issue is. But I have to say we don't get too many issues. So that's really good point. So, and then also when we updated our ordinance, our fee ordinance, we had to consider what ChargePoint software could actually do, right? Like what it allow us to do. So our parking rates were set to encourage that turnover, right? Like so that people didn't leave their cars there for a long period. So, all right, we could go to the next slide. And I'm sure most of the people on this meeting already kind of know what the in-pays to plug-in program is, right? It was started in 2016 by DP and BPU, and it's to offset the cost to purchase and maintain charging stations in New Jersey. So right now, applicants, their current program, applicants have to install a minimum of 2 charging ports per location and a maximum of 6. They have to be publicly accessible within walking distance or near multi-unit dwellings and transit stations, or within census tracts that have a high ratio of multi-unit dwellings compared to private residents. Those were prioritized in the program. And then they're going to reimburse $100,000 per fast charger port, which has to be 150 kilowatts minimum, right? Like that's a pretty big jump from when the program started. I think it was like 50 kilowatts when I first started. So and then again, we've been participating in the program since I think we submitted our first application in 2020. So and then we received them in 2021. So, all right, next slide. And I just wanted to show here like some of the differences between like the 2022 solicitation for the program versus the most recent one. You could see here the changes that were made. In 2022, applicants were awarded funds for each location. In 2025, applicants are reimbursed per port. In 2025, you only get reimbursed for power output of 150 kilowatts and up. In 2022, you were still eligible for a reimbursement even if your charger had a lower power output. So the 2025 solicitation has much stricter location requirements than in the past. And go to the next slide. So we applied for the most recent solicitation. We had 2 locations that we applied for. We only received the grant for 1, and this is the Mercer County Extension Services Building at 1440 Parkside Avenue in Ewing. We already have some level 2 chargers there, so we wanted to put some fast chargers in. So we applied to add a 3 dual port charge point charger at this site, and each port will be capable of 160 kilowatts. That'll, as you know, that's a significant range. So you can charge in 20 to 30 minutes, right? Where some of the other ones would take longer to charge. Some of the 50 kilowatts to 100 would take like an hour to 2 hours, right? To charge, even a little bit. So, so our application was approved and we're set to get $600,000 from DEP for this. However, these chargers are going to cost $1.6 million to install. So, because we have to put a new utility pole and utility transformer in and stuff like that. So it's costing a lot more than we thought it was going to cost initially. But we'll go to the next slide and I'll talk a little bit more about it. So some of the challenges were, right, like we applied for 6 charging ports at Mercer County Technical School, the Health Career Center, and Clockner Road in Hamilton, and it was denied due to the site not having enough capacity, right? There was a pre-SNG has like a preliminary screening, the EV hosting capacity map, and because it was a competitive solicitation, DEP got 270 applications, right? And they only approved 26. So I guess they were really like prioritizing plug and play sites that they had to have electrical capacity in place. Like the technical school probably would have required an engineering assessment due to the lack of capability. So that's probably why. So some of the other challenges with the program that we're finding is that like I said, the chargers are extremely expensive at this time due to the surge in the data centers, right? Driving up I'm sure you're hearing that everywhere. Data centers driving up electricity demand, straining the power grid, and then the increasing construction costs for the necessary infrastructure to put these faster chargers in. So the quote that we got was like more than we initially budgeted. So maybe, I don't know if DEP's listening, maybe they could reevaluate the program to kind of take into consideration the higher costs, right, by these different changes that have been happening. So, and then grantees receiving DEP grant funds are required to ensure charging stations are OCPP 2.01 compatible, ensure the charging stations, they have to use a network service provider that's compliant with DEP's regulations, right? So that can be a challenge as well, right? Like, because they're going to be the more expensive ones. So let's go to the next slide. So something else we're working on right now is preparing a fleet transition plan. We're utilizing funding from DVRPC, our metropolitan planning organization, to pay for the plan. Our plan kickoff was June 2025, and our targeted completion date for the plan is June 2026, so a year. And our budget was $100,000 for this plan. So it includes a feasibility assessment for EV and low emission replacements, EV replacement standards by vehicle type, and a supporting infrastructure plan for each county department, a transition timeline and procurement strategy, and then suggestions on how the county can advance community-wide EV adoption and infrastructure expansion. So those are just some of the elements that are going to be in our fleet transition plan. And we can go to the next slide. So the plan is going to include, again, a strategic roadmap and a community-wide plan. So the strategic roadmap is going to assess all our county fleet, existing charging locations, grid capacity to determine where we can make improvements for fleet. And then it's going to have a plan for infrastructure, utility improvements to support that fleet. It's going to have a breakdown of each county department's fleet and vehicle needs with a replacement schedule to allow departments to plan accordingly for the transition, right? Like when they can start doing this and how. So, and then it's going to include a community-wide plan, which is going to assess the current state of EV adoption within the county, and it's going to make recommendations. That's going to include recommendations for new charging stations, grid and infrastructure improvements necessary, and then it's going to support the county can give. So what can we give to municipalities to support their EV use, right? For their government use, their fleet, and also for the residents in the county. So that is moving along. We're kind of in the review stage now, where all the department heads are kind of looking at the plan and looking at their component of the plan and reviewing it now. And then we have, I think, till June to finalize that. Next slide. So some of the challenges we had with the plan, right? It's really coordinating with all the departments from the county as well as our park commission, right? That was a little bit more difficult than we expected. They have to be accepting of upcoming changes, right? A lot of people are that's never going to happen, right? That happens as well in county government, right? So, education is key in that, kind of explaining how this is going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a slow transition, and we did get less responses than we anticipated and less kind of participation. So we had to, when we drafted the roadmap, we had to kind of put caveats in there to account for some missing departmental information. However, continued contact for data collection purposes allowed the cabinet members, so all the department heads, to have a seat at the table, right? They all know what's going on, they know what changes are happening, and they're going to know what's coming up ahead, right? Because we're including them. And then the countywide plan required several rounds of changes to make sure it was really addressing the needs of the county and municipalities. We didn't want just some kind of cookie cutter report. We had to review the information and compare it to what can be seen day to day to align, really align the recommendations with the needs of the residents and the stakeholders. We wanted them to be real recommendations. So, and then to address infrastructure needs and concerns with this project, the project team actually wanted to engage with the local utility providers on our steering committee. PCNG was participating, they participated, but JCP&L, which serves large parts of the county, failed to provide a representative. So the project team kind of missed out on their perspective on infrastructure and stuff. So, and then there were many discrepancies also found between research and kind of information sourced from residents and stakeholders that came to some of our stakeholder meetings. So, especially in terms of where the charging stations are and their availability and stuff. So the project team was able to kind of use that insight that the steering committee members kind of had to fill in some of these gaps. So that was actually a really good part of it, but we had to independently verify all that information. So that took some time. All right, the next slide, please. And so to support the transition, our fleet transition, we're requesting $1.8 million to do a final design, purchase and install 4 dual port DC fast chargers and 20 to 30 dual port level 2 chargers that are going to be solely dedicated to Mercer County fleet. So this funding is through DVRPC's federal carbon reduction program, And I'm not sure if you're not familiar with the program. The goal is to reduce transmission emissions through development of state carbon reduction strategies and by funding projects designed to reduce carbon emissions. And yes, the program still exists. So, and so we actually just recently, oh, let's go to the next slide because I talk about the RFP in the next slide that we issued. So we just released the RFP for this on February 23rd. Proposals will be due back March 27th. So we're requesting professional design, permitting, and construction management of the fleet chargers. So we're looking at EV charging at 5 fleet facilities with evaluation of resiliency options also. So battery storage and solar PV. They're included as potential like resiliency strategies. And so the consultant will evaluate feasibility and integration options. But they are not required components of the base charging infrastructure design. So the contract type is cost plus fixed fee, means Mercer County reimburses the consultant for actual project cost while paying a predetermined fixed fee for overhead and profits. So we're waiting for that to come in, and so hopefully we get a lot of responses. So next slide. Let's see where we are. So some challenges we had, right? Like Mercer County is like the first to use this grant. Federal highway funds, it's federal highway funds to install chargers in our region. Like nobody else has done this before. So as a result, our MPO, DVRPC, and NJDOT local aid department, we're like kind of scratching their heads a little bit. They oversee these projects. They couldn't offer much guidance on how to structure the RFP to meet federal highway standards, right? Like this kind of caused a little delays in issuing the RFP. Previous procurement experience was limited to design build delivery method, right? Where we were informed that design build is not eligible for highway funds. So for our current chargers, we hired a single firm to do design build. However, in order to satisfy the federal funding rules, we have to hire a firm to design and a separate firm for construction. So that complicates it a little bit. And again, there's no clear direction provided on NEPA review requirements, National Environmental Policy Act, that requires agencies to assess environmental impacts of federal action. So there's still kind of uncertainty as to whether a NEPA review is required or if a categorical exclusion applies, right? Like they have a list of categorical exclusions, and this is not one of them, like charging stations is not one of them. So we're still kind of figuring that out, whether we don't think it's going to have like a significant environmental effect, of course. So these are small installations, but we still don't have an answer on that. So, and then combined procurement ambiguities kind of created obstacles when we were drafting the RFP. So it's just kind of like delayed the RFP process a little bit. All right, next slide. Oh, let me go back to the slide before. Sorry, I think I went too fast. All right, so some other challenges. No, you can go to that one. Yeah, that's fine. As I mentioned, we used a co-op to purchase our chargers. That gave us a 10% discount on costs of the charging units, the cloud software, and the maintenance subscriptions, right? Like I would definitely recommend you investigate what co-ops are available to you for discounts. Take advantage of grants, right? Like DEP, BPU, PSE&G, or your utility provider, right? Like that significantly reduce costs. And then reach out to other organizations that have experience, right? Like they already installed chargers. Like when we were doing this, we reached out to Princeton, Camden County, Lawrence. They all had excellent feedback that helped us plan our strategy. And then the county also expanded our network by joining sustainability groups such as USDN. I thought I had a slide on that, but I don't see it. Maybe go to the next slide. Oh, I don't know. My last slide was missing for some reason. I don't know. But USDN and ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, through these organizations, we gained a national network of local governments that are doing sustainability work. So you can access training, templates, and other resources there. So, and that's it. Thank you very much. Please reach out to me if you have questions. I have a great staff here that helped me through this. So I don't know if there's any questions in the chat, or are we going to hold questions to the end?
We'll hold them to the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. I'm not sure. I wonder, hopefully the other slide isn't stuck in here somewhere, but
it's probably going to show up in somebody else's presentation.
I'm going to look.
Okay.
No worries. All right. Great job, Maria. And again, welcome everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us today to learn about it. So beyond what his experience was, want to kind of go over some other site strategies and things to consider when you are anticipating your installation. Next slide, please. So the first thing to consider is ADA. It's important to note, as of right now, there's no specific law, but there are guidelines behind it. To make a long story short, trying to combine NEC code with ADA code, they don't mesh as well. So there's guidelines to and best practices to admit a friendly ADA compliant site that works for everyone. Next slide, please. So it's important to know the difference between, a correct install and a poorly executed install. As you can see, common sense should prevail. Things like having the walkway actually line up with the station, making sure that there's no obstruction between the station and the driver, and making sure that bollard spacing is adequate enough so that way it can protect the vehicle, or it can protect the station from a vehicle, but will not impact access for the driver. So on your left, you can see, everything's done with a respect to that. On the right-hand side, there's an attempt of it, but it doesn't exactly line up. The stall isn't meshed with the station, the bollards are off, and the curb is spaced too far away that anyone trying to access the charger would have difficulty trying to reach for it. Next slide, please. So speaking of the bollards, bollard protection is important. These stations, while they are built for outdoor weather, and they are built to be used every day, and they can take a hit pretty well, they will not survive, obviously, a vehicular collision. So bollard placement is key, especially if you're building new services. So you can see on the right picture example, making sure if you are in a location where vehicles could, potentially run into it, you want to make sure it's protected on all sides. Don't think that just a curb is going to stop a vehicle. We've all seen things that happen, and God forbid, the last thing you want is all of this great infrastructure, all of this investment that you put in, but destroyed just because, a vehicle was unable to be stopped by bollard protection, or as you see on the left, an example for anything that's in a parking garage or up against a wall. To minimize the spacing there, you can also do wall brackets that serve the same purpose, but they reinforce into the wall itself, so it still can protect the station and that infrastructure without damaging or taking up too much space from bollards. Next slide, please. Another big consideration, specifically for those in shore towns or flood zone areas, flood and design flood elevation. This is something that not a lot of people think about, but as you can see from some of the array of pictures here, for example, that cost impact could be critical to your infrastructure price. So it could be something as small as the top right photo where we just have to elevate the stations a little bit, but it could be something more extreme that needs, the whole infrastructure to be elevated. And, looking at the bottom right picture, if you're right on the beach and your flood zone is a 11 and your elevation's at a 5, yeah, you're lifting the stuff up 6 to 8 feet in the air, and that can be pretty significant on a cost impact that you might not consider if you're not thinking about it from the planning stage. So always, I'm going to talk about it in a moment, but check your maps before doing your site locations, because the cost impacts can be critical. Next slide, please. Now, another thing, talking about codes and guidelines. So fire prevention right now is a big topic. While it is far less capable of an EV to catch on fire than a normal combustible engine vehicle to catch fire, they are still a concern, right? So Currently, the code is being revised to require fire prevention for EVs. This is talking specifically about indoor EVs. So again, your parking garages, your parking decks. But thankfully, they're taking a logical approach to it. So small investments in this prevention can outweigh the costly reactive repairs that would have to, sorry, my volume apparently keeps going up and down. So hopefully, these proactive preventions can help. Things like having heat detectors above the stations, having shunt trip breakers, acquiring proper lithium battery fire extinguishers that can actually put out the fire by not only just suppressing the flames, but it actually encapsulates the battery itself, cools it down, and contains that flame so that way oxygen can't get to it anymore. So obviously we all know indoor fires can be detrimental, but something like this could be life-changing in an emergency situation. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, mapping is critical. FEMA flood mapping, as I said, before you're even talking to someone and trying to schedule that site visit, you should look at the sites you're considering and run them through FEMA's flood mapping to see what potential hazard would you run into. If it's a zone AE, how high is the elevation? If it's a zone X or if there's no zone restriction, okay, we're in a better place. But it's better to know ahead of time than to be worried about it. Additionally, while it may seem obvious, you should know who your local utility is, not only for the incentives that they may offer, but also to know, what requirements are going to come about from your utility if you're building a new service or even if you're upgrading your existing service, right? A lot of them may say, sure, you can come out of your existing panel, but we need to know it because we need to make sure, deliver of it, we can support this added capacity. A couple other things, the federal tracker won't be as much of a consideration after June 30th when the incentive eventually goes away, but it's still something to consider, as well as also for the state. Some of the incentives that Maria was talking about, the BPU and the DEP, they do look at overburdened communities, and they try to offer additional incentives for them as well. So it's important to look at those maps, see if your property qualifies, and if you can take advantage of some of the additional funds from those incentives. Next slide. Yeah. And so I'm going to pass it on to Stan to close us out.
Thank you, George. I have just a few slides. Lisa, do we have enough time or shall we go to questions?
Just go quick.
Yeah, okay. So Easy Ride is here to provide technical assistance to deploy EV charging in your community. So if you would like to have our assistance, please scan the QR code. Next slide, please. So just basic things about electric vehicles and charging. Hybrid vehicles are getting more and more popular, but they are not really electric. They just have some sort of flavor to them because they have small battery and motor. They just make gas cars more efficient. Then we have plug-in hybrids that have both. They can be plugged in and they can also use gasoline. And zero emission or battery electric vehicles, they only have battery, and they because of that they have much simpler structure. They have more usable space. They are more efficient, and they can be charged using all types of chargers. So we have level 1, which is just regular power outlet. That gives you about 40 to 60 miles a night. Level 2 is something that has more universal application. It's for home, for work, and for public charging. And at home, it gives you full charge. And for every hour, it gives you 12 to 80 miles. It really depends on the battery size and depends on the specification of the level 2 charging. And then DC fast charging is really the fastest Maria was touching about it. Some of the commercial stations can recharge to 80% in as short as 15 to 45 minutes. They're also more expensive because this is true service. Next slide. So how to maximize the savings? You want to tap into all sorts of incentives as well as partnership. NEVI funding is more, it's federal funding for the fast charging infrastructure. Then we have those state grants, utility rebates. I think Maria mentioned that. Partnership, cost sharing, and cooperative purchasing. Some of the good ideas also include solar and energy management because energy is very expensive. And by adding a solar canopy, it not only protects the vehicles, but it also supplements the load. So, or offsets the load, I should say. And then offering public access after hours, speaking of workplace charging, that adds another incremental income. Next slide, please. So that's it. Thank you so much. Our next webinar in this series will be on April 22nd at 2 p.m. If you are interested, please register. Lisa, who will be the speaker?
Our speakers are going to be Ken Simpson and Michelle Vega from Passaic County. They're going to talk about their electric bus as well as their EV charging in their county sites. And they have a very ambitious plan to, I don't know if it's changed a little bit, but their plan was to literally double the amount of chargers in the next year. I think I'm trying to remember. I think they have, okay, I'm blanking out, but they're working on that.
Also important to mention that Passaic County is also EVAL certified. How many sites?
I believe it was 4, but I feel like I might be wrong.
Yeah, something
I think
like
their
that.
goal was that we have 21 sites by this year, but it's taking them longer than they thought.
Yeah.
I
So
wanted to say too, when George was showing his map, the RGGI grant is open right now. That's one of the ones that definitely favors environmental justice or overburdened communities if you apply. But see those things that Stan put in the chat. We've got some resources there for you on purchasing, procurement, and they're all there for you to utilize so we could get back to it. Now we had a couple of questions. So one is a couple of them for you, Maria. One of them was how did you get the transition plan funded? And then this also, maybe this question is about the charging prices for the DCFC chargers. Should the pricing under your policy be more competitive, like to
That for
compete
us?
with like Tesla chargers? That's what the question is. Should you try to compete with the Tesla charger price, which is about 30 to 40 cents per kilowatt hour versus your
For
50 cents?
pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a good question. For the first question, it was through DVRPC. They gave us funding to do updated mobility elements. So we're doing a brand new mobility element, and then they gave us money to do the fleet transition plan. So it was through some money that they had. I can't remember the name of the grant, but if the person contacts me, I could figure out it was through a funding formula that they had certain money for Mercer County and certain money for this. And I could let you know specifically what it was under if you want to send me an email, but it was through DVRPC. But our sustainability plan, we're doing a new sustainability plan right now for our master plan, and we're funding that with capital from the county. That's what we're doing. So, and that actually costs significantly more than the fleet transition plan. It's like 350,000 or something like that for a sustainability element. So, but it was through DVRPC. And then the second question, that's a good point. I don't think we thought about competing with the Tesla chargers. So it's something we keep re-looking at, right? Because we're also looking at whether we should lower the kilowatts price in like residential areas to encourage more residential charging, like people, especially who live in apartments and things like that, they can't charge at home. So we're kind of still like reevaluating everything to see whether we should lower them in certain locations, like maybe not lower them at the golf courses, but maybe lower them like in our parking lot here, which is in downtown Trenton, or like the Mercer County Improvement Authority properties, like maybe we should charging stations, we should lower the rates there. So that's definitely something that we'll take a look at. I didn't think to look at Tesla. That's a good point. So I'll look at what they charge at their stations.
I just want to add because the charging or the electricity went up, and last time I was checking a Tesla supercharger, and that was years ago. They have different charging for Tesla vehicles, and then when they are open to others, they have 50 cents per kilowatt hour 2 years ago. And if you want to have lower rate, then you have to pay a membership like $13 monthly to get a little bit of a discount. But I would say that 30 to 40 cents is probably past these days. Who else wanted to make a comment?
I was just going to also chime in that Tesla charges their rates on a national average, right? So they are taking, the same price for the Northeast like us versus, the Midwest and all over the place. So it's a little different taking a national average versus Mercer counties.
I wanted to throw out there too that DEP also has grants for e-mobility planning. So that could include everything from like your EV chargers. It's just a overall plan. So something else to consider for the planners that
I'm seeing North Brunswick supercharger 59 cents per kilowatt hour. Destination chargers are cheaper. They're like 43, 45, but destination is level 2.
Yeah, I think it could definitely depend on where you are. I think that's an important thing to think about. But in terms of planning, grants are out there from DEP too for e-mobility. So that could include whether it's electric bike share, electric car share, electric shuttles. Those are available as well. You'll just have to look into everything. And like I said, that the RGGI grant for medium and heavy duty vehicles, that is open right now. I think the due date is May 31st. It's one of the links that's in the resources that we have there. Does anybody else have any questions?
Lisa, I found the funding. It was actually COVID funds that paid for that CRESA funds that paid for the fleet transition plan. So that was, coronavirus response and relief appropriation act. That's what it was.
So that's not going to be available anymore. Right? The COVID funds, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So we've got NJTPA here as well, which is Kamal's our North Jersey MPO is here. So I don't know, Xenon, did you want to see do you guys have any upcoming grants for e-mobility or chargers that you may release in the future? I don't know if you can even say that.
So we do have funding for EV readiness planning at the county level or sub-regional county level. We call counties sub-regions in our region, and but I believe Union County already did it. Maybe Kamal, we can have a conversation about how we can potentially do further planning related to the fleet. But we also do have the sub-regional EV infrastructure charging program, which provides funding through the same program that Maria mentioned, the carbon reduction funds, although we might use CMAQ as well. But Kamal, we should continue the conversation and see how we can get chargers in Union County. And if anybody else is in our region, feel free to reach out to me as well.
Okay, thank you, Zia. I had a question.
CMAQ is definitely a good idea.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Just go louder.
Okay, I'll speak a little louder. All right, this question's for Maria. I had a quick question regarding the extended service at the 1440 Parkside. You had mentioned that you received some funding, I guess, from DEP for 600,000, but you said the cost was over $1 million. How are you dealing with the offset cost?
Good question. We're still kind of working that out, right? Like we're still figuring it out. We're talking to George about some things. Um, we're doing our budget right now. Like you know, you're from the county too, so we're working on our operating capital budget right now. So I am putting some more funds, requesting. I still have to requesting funds in our capital budget for because we do put money in for sustainability projects. So I'm requesting some funds in there for that. So if we can't find another way, and there's some other, PC&G things and stuff too, which might be able to lower the cost. But right now I'm going to be probably increasing our capital budget for it.
Okay. Yeah, we request a lot of money, but we never get anything, so.
I have to say obviously Mercer County had some financial issues, right? When the new administration came in and it took a while to kind of fix some of those, but they do care about, right, these things. And that was one of the county executive's goals when he came in was like working on starting the transition, the fleet and everything. So, and to put more public chargers in. So, we'll see. I still have to request it though, too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's an important thing when you get, commissioners to champion, topics. I mean, that helps,
Political will, right? You need that or
Yeah. I appreciate
nothing's
it.
going to
Thank you, Maria.
happen.
Solar too solar could be helpful because last I heard the federal administration was starting to reverse a little bit on their stance towards solar. So that may open up some other grants again in the future, but it's certainly, like Stan could tell you better than I or even George, if you've got like those solar canopies, you've got another source that will help to reduce your need for more access from the your utility, especially if the data centers are really causing these surges, which they seem to be. But I think that's something others are going to have to stand up and say, look, we can't allow that to cripple every other government and local and residential our costs. Why should we sacrifice for the billionaire data centers?
Solar energy is historically the fastest deployable source of energy. So, and it happens to be also the cheapest.
Yeah.
Who cares that it's renewable? It's the cheapest. Some people hopefully listen to that.
Yeah, it's really honestly too bad that they kind of shut down the offshore wind because that probably would have helped a lot too. I heard though that it might be coming back. I don't know, but they've got to work on that.
I've heard it in my dream.
Floating solar panels, right? That might be the next thing.
What?
Solar panels, floating solar panels might be the next thing, right?
You
And
mean
you
like
heard that too, George?
Yep.
I did.
The
China
portable,
has
you
it.
mean, right? The portable ones?
No,
floating.
What do you mean floating?
Yeah.
China has it.
In water.
In the water, in the ocean.
Oh,
in the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
As long
how
as you don't cover all
stormproof
the
it
water,
is,
obviously.
Yeah.
but
Or even like
Nice.
old quarries and dam sites and things like that. That's, I think DEP has it cited as like a high area, like a good area to use, one of the highest, like old mining sites and dams, old dams.
That would be
and things
good.
like that. Mm-hmm.
But what about just putting them on the rooftops? Because floating them on the ground is kind of risky. We don't talk about it a lot, but New Jersey does have a fault. So we do have a fault line, and if things don't change, with the climate stuff, I mean, look what's happening in Kilauea in Hawaii. Their volcano is exploding. I think Indonesia also just had an eruption. So I don't know about the tectonic, the plates that could move.
Maria, we need you back at the state to make another mandate so that way all these data centers put up solar.
That's right. I know they should at least do that.
Actually, I made some rough calculation, and I discovered that the data centers use so much energy that even if you cover 100% of the site with solar panels, you will cover maybe 20% of the load, maybe 20%.
It's insane.
Yeah, they really need to rethink that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of municipalities are now adopting a ban on fossil-powered local generation, just in case that somebody who wants to put a data center and they want to put diesel generators. So no.
Hey, Stan, on that, has there been any requirement by the BPU or anybody to look into like how much these facilities are sapping energy from the system?
I think it is known at this point.
It is known,
Mm.
but is it out there? The data out there? I know it's a lot, but
I do know that Pennsylvania actually just announced they're trying to pass a moratorium for data centers.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Jersey will look at that as well.
I'm sure there's pending legislation already.
Yeah.
Look it up.
And
I'm sure something's out there already. I don't know if you can like from a land use perspective,
Right.
like
Yeah, I don't
restrict
think
them
you-
completely, right? But
you can't
you
put
could.
restrictions, right? You can't say, well, if you're gonna develop one, then you have to generate your own power or something to that
Right.
effect. You know what I'm saying?
Something
Yeah.
or pay more or something, right?
Whatever, right?
yeah,
They should because it's really impacting everyone. And
Yes.
I think
Oh.
something
Yeah,
has
so-
got to be done. Everyone looks at their electricity bill every month.
I just looked it up.
Yeah.
There's definitely pending legislation already. We were just talking about that. The Senate Energy and Energy Committee this week required new AI data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities to source all their energy from new Class 1 renewable energy sources or new nuclear sources. So we're just talking about that. So it looks like there's several bills out right now dealing with them. So
to deploy
Yeah.
nuclear power plant, good luck. That will take a few decades.
Well, that's already been in the plan for a while, actually,
Yeah.
for New Jersey. So, but yeah, it's not an overnight solution. Sure. So, are there any more questions? If not, we really hope that you'll join us again next month on April 22nd. If you think about other topics that you're concerned about, just email us. Our email is ev@easyride.org, or just email me and Stan. Most of us, and we're looking to make this meeting usable and helpful for people in New Jersey. So that's our goal, to continue to see the progress of EV adoption and more EV charging. So with that, thank you very much. And